Hey everyone, Elaine here. My website is countryhomeandheart.net, and today we're going to make some Southern style homemade biscuits. Now my daughters were visiting here last week while my husband went in for his surgery, and I made 2 pan loads of these, and they did disappear pretty quickly. So I'm going to make some more because even though it makes a large pan, I can freeze these and we can have them another time. I can have some for when my husband gets home from the hospital. So let's go ahead and get this started, and I'll show you what to do. So let's just turn you around so you can see. Okay, and I have my Ninja, and what I'm going to do is, instead of cutting this in the old pastry method, I'm going to do this a different way, and I'm going to do this in my Ninja. So I have here 6 tablespoons of cold butter that I've just cut up, and I'm going to put that in the Ninja. And you can see right here you have your markings that tells you how much you can add, how much the 6 tablespoons would be. Okay, and to that I'm going to add 4 cups of self-rising flour. This is Martha White self-rising flour, because I'll tell you what, for making biscuits, I like it about the best. It seems to come out with a much lighter biscuit. Okay, and then to that, I'm going to add 1 heaping teaspoon of baking powder, not baking soda, baking powder. We're going to add a good heaping teaspoon because I like to have them just get a little bit extra fluff. And then to that, I'm going to add about a half a teaspoon of salt. Now I realize with the self-rising flour, the baking powder and the salt is already in it, but I like to add just a little bit more because, again, I like them to have that little extra rise, and also the salt gives them a little extra flavor. Okay, so I'm going to put this down on my Ninja. Okay, and normally I would do this off camera, but it really doesn't take very long, so I want you to see about how long it takes. So hang on just a minute, it's going to get a little noisy. Let me check it and see if we're, yep, it looks like we're there. So I'm going to show you what to look for. And you can see that just took a minute to do. But you can see that it's just like a coarse meal. The Ninja does much better than I could do just doing the old-fashioned cut-in method, pastry method. But you can certainly do that if you like, and if it's easier for you, that's no problem. Or if you don't have a Ninja, you can still do it the old way, but this is just really fast, so I like to do this. Okay, and get my cutters out of there. Okay, so here you have your butter, your flour, your salt, and your baking powder. And now to that, I'm going to start with 1.5 cups of buttermilk. And if I need to add a little more, I will. But I'm going to start out with 1.5 cups, and I'm just going to take my spatula, and I'm going to start this with my spatula. And then I will change over to my hands in a minute, because I like to be able to kind of feel the consistency of my biscuit dough and make sure that it comes out to the consistency that I would like. Okay, and I'm getting ready to switch over to my hands here, and I am going to have to add a full 2 cups of buttermilk, it looks like, to get it like I want. And we're just going to take our hands and start mixing this together with my hands. Now I don't want to overhandle this, because again, biscuits are like pretty much any other kind of cakes or things like that. You don't want to overhandle these. You want these to come out nice and fluffy, and they will do that as long as they're not overhandled. And I think I'm going to add just a teeny bit more flour to that. Let me get something to add with. Okay, we're going to add just a little bit more self-rising flour to that because I don't think that that's hardly enough. There we go. That feels a little more like I want it. Okay. All right, and now I am going to rinse my hand off, and I will be right back with you, and I'll show you what we're going to do next. Okay, I'm back. Let me turn you down a little bit more so you can see. There we go. That's better. Okay, now I'm going to take my dough, and I'm going to turn it out on this waxed paper that I have just floured. And I'm just going to use my hand for this. Okay, and I'm going to put a little more flour on top of this because I don't want it to stick to my hands. Now we're not going to knead this or anything. What I'm going to do is just take my hand and I'm going to flatten this dough out to just about a ½ inch thick. And I'm just going to do this with my hand because you don't need to. Really, on this recipe, I don't ever knead it or roll it out or anything. I just like to use my hands. Okay, and that's about the right consistency. I'm going to move my bowl, and I'm going to bring over a greased cookie sheet that I'm going to put these on. Okay, and then I have dipped my little thing that I like to cut with. This actually, I call it my fancy biscuit cutter, but what this was a 4-ounce can of mushrooms that I took the label off of and washed, and I have used this for years to cut my biscuits out with. Okay, and so now we're going to cut these out. I'm just going to lay these in the pan like that. And don't worry about crowding them because if you push them together like this, they come out really nice and fluffy. So we're not going to worry about crowding them in the pan. They can touch each other and that's fine. And we're just going to keep layering these in. Oh, I'm sorry, you can't see, can you? Let's turn you a little bit so you can. There we go. Okay, that should have fixed that issue. Okay, and we're going to keep putting these in the pan. Now I have a lot of dough left here, so what I'm going to do is just kind of smush that together. And we're going to cut out some more. So again, we don't want to overhandle it. You want to be really careful how much you handle your dough. For years, I could not make good biscuits at all. My grandmother finally told me that I was overcrowding my pan, and that's what the problem was. So I mean, I'm not overcrowding my pan. I was overhandling my dough, and that's what the problem was, because I was really bad to try and knead it and do everything that I've seen in other biscuit recipes, and I found out for this particular recipe, it's not really necessary to do this. Now, my grandmother always used lard in her biscuits, and lard's good, but I prefer butter. I started adding butter in mine a few years back, and I just would really rather use the butter. I just think it makes them better, makes them taste better. Okay, we're getting there. We're almost got it. I'm just going to flatten these out a little bit more. Okay. Uh-oh. Don't want that there. Alright, it looks like I got enough for one more biscuit, and I'm just going to shape that with my hands and put that in there. Okay, now I have preheated my oven to 450 degrees. I'm going to wash my hands a little bit. And we're going to bake these at 450 degrees for, I'm going to check them in 20 minutes and we'll see how they're doing. Okay, and there's what they look like before they're going into the oven. Okay, be back in just a moment. Okay, my biscuits are done and I'm going to show you what they look like. Let me turn this down so you can see. And what we're going to do, we have that extra 2 tablespoons of butter left over because we only use 6 in the recipe, so then it's 8 total in a whole stick. So we melted that, and I am just going to brush that melted butter right over the tops of these. And what this will do is it'll give them a nice soft crust. And you won't see any of the flour that you see on those right now either. It gets rid of that and makes them really nice on the top. So we're going to go ahead and do that. Now my grandmother used to put hers in a covered container, and she actually let the biscuits kind of sit and steam there for a few minutes before she served them, and that was the way she got her tops nice and soft. But this way tastes a lot better. So I think we'll stick with the melted butter. It just seems to set them right off. And, okay, so we're going to get that last one. Okay, and they're all brushed. Okay, and now they're very hot, but I'm going to try to pull one off of here and show you what they look like inside. Okay, set that down right there. And I'm going to get a knife and cut this and split this open a little bit so you can see. Nice and soft and fluffy on the inside, and they got a nice crust on the outside. And so you can put butter or any kind of your favorite filling in those that you like. I always liked apple butter. One of these days I'm going to make some apple butter with these and put that in there too. But these will freeze, and I will probably take what I don't eat today, because I probably will only eat one. And I will freeze the rest of these, and when my husband comes home from the hospital, I will be able to actually take these out and put them in a baking dish, or you could split them and you can grill them. That is really good to do that. You split them and then you just spread a little butter on them and put them in a pan and let them grill like you would a grilled cheese or something, and that is very good. And that works very well with reheating these. Or like I say, you can cover them up, put them in the oven, and they'll soften up and be just as good. So I'm going to go ahead and eat one of these biscuits and eat my lunch here. I haven't done that. So let me know if you all try this recipe and what you think of it, and tell me in the comments what you thought. I will be listing the ingredients there so that you can make this recipe if you want. And and if you enjoyed this video and you'd like to see more like this, just hit like and subscribe. And if you subscribe to my channel, you'll be able to see more videos as I put them out there. So y'all have a wonderful Sunday, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.